Welcome to podcast number 2, possibly number 1, depending on if you got the first link. Just kind of a test, still working things out. What do you think of the background, the new chair? Is this good? Is the lighting too dim and colorful? Who knows? I guess podcasts are more about talking, but as I mentioned on the last one, I like to just add all this little stuff that doesn't matter to put off actually doing a podcast. But let's lay it out today. Today I'm going to talk about some neat history. Something happened with the Queen. You know, the Queen of England? Something happened with the Queen. I'm going to talk a little bit about her, some history stuff that's fun. But first, let's skip all the way to just yesterday. We'll go to just yesterday. I went and did this roast battle. And a roast battle is when two comedians, or just two people, write jokes about each other that are mean and try to get everyone to laugh. And I was really excited to do this show because it was outside of my house, you know, and as everybody is right now, like it could be anything. Could have been like, oh, you're going to be publicly humiliated in front of 150 people. Okay. What time? What time and where? I'll be there. And I did horrible in this roast battle. And the last one I was in, I lost both rounds too. So I even reminded myself, I was like, oh yeah, this is a horrible feeling. But then again, I'm not just at my house. I'm not just sitting inside waiting for, you know, the earth to warm up enough where, you know, where I am, it's so cold and everything's closed except for, you know, it opened up in the last 2 days. There's been some stuff. We're here nor there. We're not going to talk about that. I'm going to pretend like, you know what doesn't exist while in the podcast, just to keep things fun. And eventually it won't exist and the podcast will be ahead of its time. So yes, being stuck inside, I was like, okay, I'm going to be publicly humiliated. All right, let's go do it. So we go and it's this really cool hotel that's sectioned off. And so everybody's out on their balconies and they have all the balconies divided up. And it was so cool. And they had a great DJ there at the start and he's just crushing. And everybody's on the, like Electric Circus. And like super safe Electric Circus. If you're one of the 6 people listening that happens to be worried, if you are worried, like really safe. Like everything is so separated. You're in your own hotel room with your own walls, with your own bubble. You got your bubble. So it was really fun up until, of course, the roasting. It was really fun to walk through and look at the lights and go like this. And then the roasting began and my soul was just broken over. So I'll give you some details on it. So like the first round was me versus a guy who has a popular podcast. His name is Uncle Hack and he super funny guy and kind of is like an Albertan type dude with a mustache, worked on the rigs, and kind of invincible to insults in a way. And so is another, almost all 3 but me were invincible to insults. So then the next guy is a guy named Sam who's like similar but even more crazy, like a guy who you'd think would just like grab the side of a train and just go wherever that train's going. So you can't really make fun of him because he's just like, yeah, I'm that guy. What? And then the third person is this very funny comedian named Cindy Rivers, who has a lot of experience in comedy and in roast battling. And just, so I got destroyed by Uncle Hack because I tried to like make fun of like riggers and stuff like that. And like everybody in the crowd was there for him. And I'm like making fun of them. They're like, boo. Like, Alex Carr, you suck. Whoa. And then, so I lost, and then I went against Cindy Rivers, who just had a very close battle with Sam, only to just steamroll over me. Like, just very, very few laughs. And yeah, and then in this sort of event, when you lose more. The host, Brett, the guy that invited me, he makes fun of you too, and he knows me really well. So he had like a Wikipedia of things to say about me compared to the rest of them, and I lost. So I lost multiple times. Then we did, The only good thing was that at the start, we got to do 7 minutes of comedy, and I thought I did really well. I crushed. Got tons of laughs. They liked comedy about things from me. They just didn't like my insults. And you know what? I didn't really like them either. So I think my roasting career is done. But I say that every time. And then I get him. But again, I just wanted to leave the house. Anything to walk out the front doors of the house. Oh, there's a dog biting people at the park. I should go check it out. I should go check that. That should be me that checks that out. I need something to do. But you can't even do that here. It's so cold. You can't even go get bit by a dog at the park if you wanted to. If that was all you wanted to do today. So anyway, a podcast, how they go. You talk a little bit about what's going on, and then maybe you do a subject. The Queen was saying today that she will be the last queen. And if you think she's given up her power, no, she's not giving up power. She says that it's going to be all kings from here on out. And then all of the immediate people are kings. Didn't read the details too much. I always get, a lot of thoughts about those royal family. If you know any history about them, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I was reading about the Queen and this diamond. I was reading this thing about the Koh-i-Noor diamond, it's called. And when they found it back in the day, they said that it had enough value to feed the entire world for 2 days. That's how much this diamond cost. Now, this diamond is currently on the front of the Queen's crown. She has it on the front of her crown. So if you ever see pictures of the crown, that giant diamond, that's the Koh-i-Noor diamond. So they found a diamond that they realized was worth enough to feed the entire world for 2 days. And the Queen said, yeah, put it on my hat. Yeah, you can stick it on my visor. It's like, but the Queen, there's people starving all over the world. Yeah, and my hat's not sparkly enough. I don't have a sparkly enough hat. She loves her hats. Even as I was reading the article, it's just her in a hat. And I thought, that could be made out of anything. We have one animal we got from bars. Skin it and make it into a hat for me. I'm the Queen. I'm like, these royals, just crazy. And then I was reading this other thing about an old queen who, I think it was Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France. Yeah, she was the Queen of France. And some dude, so I was actually reading a script about this watch that's worth $25 million. And this guy made the watch. He spent 40 years making this watch for the Queen, for Marie, but then she was killed. And he never got to give it to her. So the watch is floating around. Some billionaire, some guy that got bailed out in 2008 bought it or something. Who knows? Who knows who has it? The founder of Subway. But I just thought it was funny that imagine spending 40 years making something. You're 25 years deep and you're looking at it and being like, we got another 10, 15 years to go on this bad boy. One watch you spend your whole life on. Tinkering every piece. I have no idea, but he's probably got to get the pieces from places and he's just working on this watch. 40 years. People didn't even live that long back then. 2 lifespans of the average person. This guy spent working on a watch. And just picture him, working, chiseling away at something and shining the diamonds or whatever he was doing. Also, watches are the expensive watches, and I hate to break it to you, total waste of money. It dawned on me one day, I was like, wait a second, the Rolex watch. So the Rolex is known because the thing doesn't tick, it rolls. All right? So this was a problem? Has it ever, people spend 30, I know it's an intrinsic value, don't give me that, I understand, but the idea they're like, oh, it's so great, it's you can't even notice. You couldn't even notice. Was somebody sitting there, some guy was rich, he's like, I'm rich, I don't want to sit here and have to watch this thing tick, the little movements, for a rich guy, are you insane? This is horrible. Sorry, my camera died there. Was full, so I deleted a bunch of photos. Could have been photos of, who knows? Just delete it. You ever have your phone full and you're all frustrated? You just delete. You're gone. I don't care what it is. So where was I? Okay, the rich guy. So there's a rich guy, and he's He's pissed because his watch, because he has to look at the ticks, because he doesn't look, and it's like, look, and then I pictured this other dude being there like, and they're all just trying to rip off the rich guy because they hate him, right? Because he sucks, he's short and he's mean, and so they hate him. So everybody around him hates him. He's like, I fucking can't stand this thing. There's always tick, and I have to look at it tick, and it drives me crazy. And I was like, well, you know what? I think I could get rid of that tick. I think we could make it roll, but we're looking at $30,000-$40,000 to make that happen for you. To get that thing to roll, we may need $50,000, but you'll no longer have to have your eyes abused by the ticking. You can now have the roll. So those watches, this drives me crazy. One time, I'll get back to Marie Antoinette. I know that's where I'll get back to it. Marie Antoinette, but one time I was at a lunch with my boss, and I went into that whole thing because it just comes from my heart. I'm like talking about, I don't even know how it came up. I was like, Rolexes, blah, blah, blah. Only an idiot would buy a Rolex. Only a small on the inside loser would buy a Rolex. Why? And I couldn't notice that the man had a Rolex on. How did I not notice? And he got up and he kind of shook it, and then I dawned on me. I was like, oh man, oh no, Alex, why didn't you just eat the chicken sandwich and shut up? But it worked out. I got fired either way, so it's all good if he did care, But so you're Maria Antoinette's watchmaker, and you've been tinkering away for 35 years. He just spent 40 years on this watch. 40 years. He had a child. The child grew up. He ignored him. He ignored the child. He worked on the watch. The child was 10, and when it learned to walk, he was learning to watch. He was not look the child every step of the way. The child was 16. He scored his first goal at the football match down there in France, scores his first goal, and he looked up for Dad, and where was Dad? He was tinkering away on old Maria Antoinette's watch, spending more time. The kid grew up to resent his father. He took it out on all of his friends and family. But wow, we get 35 years deep, 36 years deep, and we're looking at this watch, and holy moly, this thing looks like you spent 100 years on it. It's so nice. 38, 39, he's polishing. If you spent 40 years on a watch, you spent a year polishing it as well. It's as far as I'm concerned. He's polishing. He's ignoring. He had another child, which he ignored as well. The other child grew up. They were best friends. They bonded over the neglect from the father and the watch. The two of them can't even look at a time. They can't even look at time. They don't even like to see the shadow come off of a rock because it reminds them of a sundial and the watch and the father ignoring them because he had to make the watch for Maria Antoinette. And he's working away. And we're 39 years and a half deep, pushing up on 40 years deep. And somebody comes into the shop. Yo, like Pat or whatever it is, a French name, Pot. And then in French, he probably said to him, dude, like, Maria Antoinette is dead, man. Like, dead. And he, not, wait. No, but to watch my son, Adrian, and my daughter, Samantha, or another French name, like doing the watch your whole life. I hope he got at least a couple mil for that watch, but I don't imagine he did. He probably just worked on it. I should really get the history. I should try to get more of the history. All I know is that it took 40 years and that Marina never got it. I don't even know that she died. I just know that she didn't get it. That's what it said. It was like she never got it because of the revolution. And in my head, because I've watched too much TV in my life, I was like, oh, there was a revolution, like, so they must have killed the queen. But this is why you do test podcasts and you don't release them, because you realize, like, wait a second. Fucking, you didn't do any notes. You didn't get enough notes. You just got your joke about the Koh-i-Noor diamond you've told 100 times. But the Rolex story is pretty cool. That's pretty neat. You know, that happened. Not the part about a rich guy getting ripped off by his friends, but me embarrassing myself in front of my boss who had a Rolex on, who later fired me. So who knows? Who knows? That's about it. I also, again, I got these sounds. So I got this sound. It's from this movie Knuckle. Such a great movie. And this is my favorite one. And I don't know. I can't wait until I have like some sort of thing, somebody to be mad at. Like, oh, if you're a politician and you encouraged people to stay home and then you went on vacation.
He genuinely is the worst man of his name.
You cowley pack of bollockses. You dirty pack of cowley murdering bastards.
He genuinely is the worst man of his name.
So this movie Knuckles about these travelers, and they fight each other. They're these families that fight each other. I think it's my favorite piece of art that exists. And I've watched it a million times, and it's really great. And the way they talk, and they have so much stuff, so much emphasis on like your name, like your last name, whatever your last name is, and you just like.
He genuinely is the worst man of his name.
And their accents are great. And yeah, I didn't use them. I didn't really have a reason to use them. Everybody I talked about was a pretty good person. You know, there would be no reason to use this.
You dirty pack of cowley murdering bastards.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me that likes them. I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. Am I gonna actually release it? Probably not. But we will see. Have a great day.